The year was 1888. High in the Himalayas, a small conflict was brewing, one that would mark the first time a European army would engage in battle amidst the world's highest peaks. The Lingtu War, as it would be known, was a brief but significant event, highlighting the strategic importance of the Himalayan passes and the challenges of high-altitude warfare. It was a testament to the resilience of the British Army, particularly the 2nd Battalion of the Derbyshire Regiment, who faced not only a determined enemy but also the unforgiving terrain and climate of the Tibetan plateau. The war was fought between the British Raj and Tibet over control of the Himalayan kingdom of Sikkim and its crucial passes. These passes, acting as gateways between India and Tibet, held immense strategic and commercial value. The British, eager to expand their influence and establish trade routes to Tibet, found themselves drawn into a conflict that would test their military prowess and resolve in an entirely new theatre of operations. The Lingtu War, though a relatively minor event in the grand scheme of British imperial history, offers a fascinating glimpse into a unique chapter of military history. It highlights the often overlooked complexities of colonial frontier conflicts and the challenges of projecting power in some of the world's most inhospitable environments. The war's legacy, though faded with time, is etched in stone in the form of the Gnathang War Memorial in Sikkim, a poignant reminder of the sacrifices made by those who fought and fell in this remote corner of the British Empire. The Lingtu War serves as a reminder of the far-reaching impact of British imperialism and its enduring legacy in the region. It is a story of ambition, conflict, and ultimately the human cost of empire. The echoes of this forgotten war continue to resonate in the Himalayas, urging us to remember the soldiers who fought and died in a land far from home. Nestled high in the Himalayas, Sikkim's strategic importance stemmed from its control of vital trade routes between India and Tibet. Two passes, in particular Nathula and Yalepa, held immense significance. These passes, treacherous yet navigable, represented the only viable routes for trade caravans traversing the formidable Himalayan barrier. For centuries, these passes facilitated the flow of goods, ideas, and culture between the Indian subcontinent and the Tibetan plateau. The British, ever keen on expanding their commercial interests, recognized the potential of these Himalayan trade routes. Tibet, with its mystique and resources, presented a tantalizing prospect for British merchants and adventurers alike. Control over Sikkim's passes meant control over access to the Tibetan market, a prize worth fighting for in the eyes of the British Empire. Tibet viewed British ambitions in the region with suspicion. The Tibetan government in Lhasa, wary of foreign encroachment, also sought to maintain its autonomy and control over its borders. The convergence of these competing interests created a volatile situation in the Eastern Himalayas. Sikkim, caught in the middle of this geopolitical tug-of-war, became a focal point for tensions between the British Empire, Tibet, and China. The stage was set for a conflict that would test the limits of British power and resolve in one of the world's most challenging environments. The Lingtu War was sparked by Tibetan anxieties over growing British influence in Sikkim. The Tibetans, viewing the British presence as a threat to their traditional trade routes and autonomy, decided to take action. In 1886, Tibetan troops crossed the border into Sikkim and occupied the Lingtu Fort, a strategically located outpost guarding a key pass. The Tibetan occupation of Lingtu was a bold move, a clear signal to the British that they would not tolerate any infringement upon what they perceived as their sphere of influence. The fort itself, perched atop a rocky outcrop, commanded a strategic view of the surrounding valleys, making it a valuable asset for controlling the flow of trade and movement through the region. The British, already wary of Tibetan intentions, viewed the occupation of Lingtu as a provocation. The Viceroy of India, Lord Dufferin, considered the Tibetan action a violation of existing treaties and an unacceptable challenge to British authority. Diplomatic efforts to resolve the situation proved futile, with the Tibetans refusing to withdraw from Lingtu. With tensions escalating and diplomacy failing, the British began to prepare for a military response. The decision to go to war was not taken lightly, but the British felt compelled to act to protect their interests and prestige in the region. The stage was set for a confrontation that would test the mettle of both sides in the harsh and unforgiving terrain of the Himalayas. In response to the Tibetan aggression, the British began assembling a military force to evict the occupiers from Lingtu Fort. The expeditionary force, comprised of British and Indian troops, was placed under the command of Brigadier General Thomas Graham. Among the regiments chosen for this challenging campaign was the 2nd Battalion of the Derbyshire Regiment, a unit known for its discipline and experience in colonial warfare. The expeditionary force faced a daunting task. The journey to Lingtu would take them through treacherous mountain passes, dense forests, and across fast-flowing rivers. Supplies and equipment had to be transported over vast distances, often on the backs of mules or carried by porters, recruited from the local population. The logistical challenges alone were immense, requiring careful planning and coordination to ensure the troops had the resources they needed to fight effectively in such a remote and unforgiving environment. Despite the logistical hurdles, the British force pressed on, their determination fueled by a sense of duty and a desire to uphold British prestige. The soldiers, many of whom had never experienced the harsh realities of high-altitude warfare, marched towards an uncertain future, their spirits high but their bodies untested in the face of the challenges that lay ahead. The expeditionary force, a testament to the reach and organization of the British Empire, represented a formidable fighting force. Their advance into the Himalayas was a clear signal to the Tibetans. The British were prepared to use force to defend their interests. The die was cast, and the stage was set for a clash of arms high in the Himalayas. Section 5. The Perils of High-Altitude Warfare. As the British and Indian troops ascended into the Himalayas, they encountered a new and formidable enemy: the unforgiving environment itself. The thin air at high altitudes took a toll on the soldiers, many of whom hailed from the lowlands and were unaccustomed to such extreme conditions. Altitude sickness, with its debilitating symptoms of headache, nausea, and fatigue, became a constant companion for the advancing troops. The rugged terrain posed its own set of challenges. The steep, winding trails tested the limits of human endurance, slowing the advance and making the transportation of supplies a logistical nightmare. Landslides and rockfalls were constant threats, while the swift-flowing rivers, swollen by melting snow and ice, presented hazardous obstacles that had to be navigated with care. The harsh Himalayan climate added to the troops' woes. During the day, the sun beat down mercilessly, while the nights brought freezing temperatures. Snowstorms could descend without warning, blanketing the landscape in a thick layer of white and making movement all but impossible. The soldiers, ill-equipped for such extreme weather conditions, suffered from frostbite, hypothermia, and other cold-related ailments. Despite these hardships, the British and Indian troops pressed on, their determination fueled by a sense of duty and a desire to accomplish their mission. They endured the debilitating effects of altitude, the treacherous terrain, and the unforgiving climate, their resilience a testament to the human spirit in the face of adversity. Section 6. Clash at Lingtu. After weeks of arduous marching and facing the relentless challenges of the Himalayas, the British Expeditionary Force finally reached the vicinity of Lingtu Fort in March 1888. The Tibetan defenders, well positioned within the fort's walls, were prepared to resist the British advance. The stage was set for a confrontation that would decide the fate of Lingtu and the surrounding territory. On the morning of March 20th, 1888, the British launched their attack. The Derbyshire Regiment, under the command of Lieutenant Colonel John Bromhead, spearheaded the assault. Armed with Martini Henry rifles and supported by artillery fire, the British troops advanced on the fort, their movements hampered by the steep, rocky terrain and the determined resistance of the Tibetan defenders. The Tibetans, armed with muskets and swords, fought bravely, but their outdated weapons were no match for the superior firepower of the British. The defenders rained down a barrage of stones and arrows, but the British, taking cover behind whatever shelter they could find, returned fire with disciplined volleys. Slowly but surely, the British troops gained the upper hand. After several hours of intense fighting, the British forces managed to breach the fort's defences. The Tibetans, overwhelmed by the British assault, retreated from Lingtu, melting back into the surrounding mountains. The battle, though brief, had been a decisive victory for the British, securing their control over the strategically important Lingtu fort and the surrounding passes. Section 7. Holding the line. With Lingtu fort secured, the British faced the daunting task of consolidating their gains and securing the region against further Tibetan incursions. The victory at Lingtu had come at a cost, and the troops were exhausted and depleted after weeks of campaigning in the harsh Himalayan environment. Nevertheless, they set about fortifying their position, knowing that the Tibetans might attempt to regroup and launch a counterattack. The British troops established a series of outposts and patrols along the border, keeping a watchful eye for any signs of Tibetan activity. Life on the frontier was harsh and unforgiving, with the soldiers enduring extreme weather conditions, isolation, and the constant threat of attack. Yet they persevered, their discipline and determination a testament to the professionalism of the British Army. The British presence in the region after Lingtu was not solely defined by military might. Diplomatic efforts were also underway to find a peaceful resolution to the conflict and establish a lasting peace on the border. Negotiations with the Tibetan authorities were protracted and complex, hampered by the remoteness of the region and the intricacies of Tibetan politics. For 7 long years, the British maintained their presence in the region, their hold on the strategic Himalayan passes unwavering. The Lingtu War, though a relatively small conflict in the grand scheme of British imperial history, had demonstrated the lengths to which the British were willing to go to protect their interests and maintain their dominance in the region. Section 8. Legacy of Stone. The Lingtu War, though faded from popular memory, left an indelible mark on the landscape and the people of Sikkim. The most poignant reminder of the conflict is the Gnathang War Memorial, a solemn monument erected by the British in memory of their fallen soldiers. Standing sentinel over the windswept plateau, the memorial serves as a poignant reminder of the sacrifices made in this remote corner of the British Empire. The Gnathang War Memorial, constructed from locally quarried stone, is a simple yet powerful structure. Its stark beauty stands in stark contrast to the rugged grandeur of the surrounding mountains, a testament to the enduring legacy of the conflict. The names of the British and Indian soldiers who lost their lives in the Lingtu War are etched into the memorial stone, their sacrifice forever commemorated in this remote corner of the world. Beyond the stone and the names, the Gnathang War Memorial stands as a symbol of a bygone era, a time when the British Empire held sway over vast swathes of the globe. It is a reminder of the human cost of empire, the sacrifices made by soldiers far from home in the service of their country. The memorial, often shrouded in mist and shrouded in silence, is a place of reflection. It is a place to remember the fallen, to acknowledge the complexities of history, and to contemplate the enduring legacy of conflict in this remote and beautiful corner of the world. Section 9. A Forgotten Echo. The Lingtu War, a brief and relatively obscure conflict, serves as a reminder of the far-reaching impact of British imperialism and its enduring legacy in the Himalayas. Though largely forgotten outside of academic circles and the collective memory of the local communities, the war offers valuable insights into the complexities of colonial frontier conflicts and the challenges of projecting power in some of the world's most inhospitable environments. The war's legacy extends beyond the battlefield, shaping the geopolitical landscape of the region and leaving an indelible mark on the relationship between Britain, Tibet, and Sikkim. The conflict highlighted the strategic importance of the Himalayan passes, reinforcing British determination to secure their control over these vital trade routes and thwart any perceived threats to their interests. The echoes of the Lingtu War resonate even today, serving as a reminder of the enduring power of history to shape the present. The Gnathang War Memorial stands as a testament to this legacy, a solemn reminder of the human cost of conflict and the sacrifices made by those who fought and died in this remote corner of the British Empire. As we reflect upon the Lingtu War, we are reminded of the importance of understanding the past to navigate the complexities of the present. The war's legacy, though often overlooked, continues to shape the geopolitical landscape of the region, serving as a reminder of the enduring impact of history on the world we live in today.